Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to be here this morning. I want to thank Stan for taking my place. He and Ken did an excellent job yesterday, so we're glad to be back in the saddle. And we're got a big week planned as soon as we get this wind and rain on out of here. Sort of getting on out of here a little bit slower than I wanted to, but we're back in the saddle and we're glad to be here. Our weather day, of course, brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High 82, low 72, and water temperature dipped below 80 degrees. I was a little surprised because I thought all that water in the southern part of the Gulf would be pushed on up here, but it didn't develop like that. One thing, it sort of got oxygenated, a lot of waves and all, that sort of cools it down. So anyway, it's right at 80 degrees, it's not a big deal. So once it settles down, things are going to be in good shape. River readings brought to us by Sandhill Seafood, good fresh seafood up on Highway 77 north of Bozeman. As we expected, the Apalachicola at Bluntstown. It's over 17 foot. And this was fascinating. See where it's going to level off? That's where they control that right there, the Jim Woodruff Dam in Chattahoochee, and they pretty well said they got in flood stage now, so they pretty well don't want to go in much higher if they can. That's all sort of computerized now. Let's go down to Choctawhatchee at Caryville, 11.6, and they don't have no way of controlling it, and it's going up. We've had a lot of rain, and it's coming in a squall. So the Choctawhatchee at Caryville is right now right at 12, and it's going on up there pretty high. So be well aware of that and just stay tuned to what's going on your river system. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're back in good tides. We have a strong tide. High tide is in the morning at 9:37, and a low tide tonight at 8:28. Good strong tides, and once it calms down this weekend now, there's going to be some really good fishing. We've got a big trip planned for Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be good timing. The only drawback on all this bad weather coming in, of course, it kept everybody off the water, which was, a safe thing to do. But we missed the full moon of May on freshwater fishing. Folks were just not able to get out before or after that full moon because of this weather. So anyway, let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and look who's here, Captain Rick. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. We're sitting here, we're talking about the veteran of all the storms and all. We've been through them. I know you've been through a bunch of them and all, but we're talking about, it's funny, I was in Navarre Beach for a while, and then I was at Panama City, and Jim Cantor came to both places, so I knew I was doomed. I wasn't going to get any fishing done when it comes to both places. But so, we're talking about it really, if it's not a Category 2, the locals don't get too excited.
No, it's a non-event. And when it gets up to Category 2, if it's going to go in just to the west of us, that puts you on the front side of the strong side of the storm. I leave. If it's Category 3 anywhere, I'm gone. You don't stay when it gets up to that point. And it's not the wind that you're really worried about, but those winds and those categories push enough water that that's what kills people. Yeah, and
a lot of times it's sort of sensationalized, and that we all understand where that comes from and all. But at the same time, why that bothers me, because it's like a little word called wolf. When all of a sudden you're going to get hit, and everybody's going, well, that last one didn't do nothing.
It didn't do nothing, and they said it was going to do all this and didn't. Yeah, that worries me a lot because people have short memories.
Yeah. Well, and one thing too, we talk about, this doesn't get a lot of talk, but we're talking about lightning. These storms, the lightning is embedded in these storms.
Yep.
Now, most of the time when we have these huge storms, people are off the water, but lightning, I know you've been around it, and the lightning can come in really strong.
I got one little statistic here that I had read the other day that I found interesting, and that was, they were talking about lightning, and that more people are killed by lightning than in hurricanes. But the people think, well, I'll wait till it gets close. But lightning can strike you as far as 10 miles away from a thunderstorm. It'd be sunny and blue and, everything lovely. and you can get hit. If you hear thunder, you're in danger of the possibility of getting hit by lightning. And the smart thing to do is get into a structure such as a house, because the wiring and the plumbing works as a ground and it's a shield around you. Just like if you have to be on a boat, if you can stay inside something like a tuna tower or some of that nature that is grounded to the ground system, then you get a cocoon effect. If you're on a sailboat and the mast is grounded, then it makes a 60-degree cone off the top of that all the way around the boat. If you're inside that cone area, the odds are slim that you're going to get hit. What happens is people quite often forget that you're maybe holding on to the helm.
Yeah.
It's grounded, and what you don't want to do is be holding both sides of that wheel, because now you may be becoming a shortcut for this current coming through there. If you've got to do something, put your left hand in your pocket and steer with your right hand. That's about as safe as you can get under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Ideally, if you can drop the hook and go down below and stay out.
That's the ideal situation.
That's right.
Just sort
Stay there and let it ride out.
And ride it out.
And don't be in a hurry to leave after the storm's gone, because, like I say, you're still within 10 miles of the storm. You can get struck. You might as well wait until you don't hear thunder, or about a half hour after the storm's gone. You won't. And you can hear thunder about 18 miles max. And
that's a good point too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times now we have electronics and all can tell us about lightning and all, but at the same
you should
time,
have NOAA weather radio capability on your boat. That's just common sense.
But at the same time, one of them can just, it's those blue streaks just come out of nowhere. Is the one that's always, I've gotten a lot more cautious over the years. When I see one coming, I start easing on out of there, even from a distance. I don't play around it, especially
you ain't got to panic. You just
sort of
know what you got to do and say,
get away from
okay,
it.
I heard thunder. I think I'll go inside until this is over with.
Move away just a little bit, you know. I'll get a little bit closer to the landing. Is what
Otherwise, it might be a shocking event.
It might shock you. All right, let's take a break. We're back. I got some really good pictures we're going to show you. We'll be right back. All right, sitting here with Captain Rick Corley, a long time with us, which I guess since day one with Panhandle Outdoors, and didn't get to come on as much. He's sort of retired, or semi-retired now. How are you enjoying all this time off?
Well, I got granddaughter duty today. You know, I got to take her to karate practice.
Now, are you going to join in the karate, or are you just going to take her to practice?
I'm just going to take her to practice. I had all that I wanted back in the military days.
Okay, you do have a trip planned pretty soon. You said Canadian Rockies?
Yeah, well, next summer, not this summer, but Babs had a little bit of health problems, but we've got that solved. And so next summer, I want to go up into the Canadian Rockies for about a month.
All right, let's catch up on some pictures. I got some more. We're just going to show some of them today. We're going to start off with this one. Captain Kim sent this from Sea Quarters Marina in Carabel. Okay, and let's see, she said the Reds are swimming. This is right before the storm. They were all over the beach here in Carabel, and here it is right here, and that's a nice
good fish.
And you know, as we're looking at this, a lot of times, and we talk about this, a lot of times, well, most of the time, these old captains will tell you they love to fish ahead of that storm, because you have that low pressure, that pressure dropping, and you get a lot of activity, and somehow those fish know they better eat, because the storm is coming.
Well, and another thing is, if you got an onshore wind, it'll bring the bait fish in, and it'll bring them following them.
That's exactly right.
This north wind the other day, we were on the backside. I don't think the fishing was all that good, probably, because it'd keep the bait fish drove offshore, and they wouldn't show up in here close.
Okay, here's some more now. She's saying caught on pinfish, and Captain Kim approved LY, sold at the Sea Quarters Marina. All right, but look,
a mango snapper.
Look at these. I mean, that's some nice grouper down there. We talked about the grouper being caught. That's some good eating right there.
Black.
Yes, sir. All right, now this is a group. This is the same folks down there with the kingfish. I think that was 45 or 48 pounds. I can't quite read that. I can't read that. Anyway.
Let me see. I think
Can you read that?
Yeah, I think
What does it say?
39.5 pounds.
I said close to 40 just looking at it. Look at there.
That's close.
Good job. You got good eyes.
Yeah.
All right. Scott Lindsay sent this to me. This was what Stan was talking about, that 10-pound trout caught out of there at over there around Phillips Inlet, folks. You just don't see that. It was caught and released, but that is a huge, huge trout. And those 10-pounders, they're just rare. They've always been rare, but this day and time, you just don't catch it. You just don't see them. So, Scott, thank you for sending that. And that's
good looking fish.
One Stan was talking
on
about.
light tackle, that would have been a lot of fun.
That I don't know what kind of tackle he caught it on, but it was okay. I'd like to send y'all some recipes every now and then. Here's how you do blackened chicken. You clean the chicken, you place the chicken in the oven, and go check your Facebook.
Yeah, well, a little sandpaper and get the dark off. You'd be in good shape.
All right, let's see. And I got a quote here. Folks are sending in. This is on the Facebook. Let's see. Great shows, Mr. Chester. Dan Wells. The Wells family in Teloja watches every morning here on YouTube. We're originally from Ohio, and your show has taught us so much about how to fish and advocate for conservation here in the Florida Panhandle. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And we got good things right there. Thank you for sending that. We're getting that on the on our new website. We're getting a lot of stuff on that.
Cool.
So what, Rick, getting back, let me see, I got one thing I want to show that I knew.
That's fountain blue.
That's the old fountain blue, okay?
Yeah.
Take a look at it. We remember this fountain blue, okay?
Yeah.
That was back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, now look at this right here. That's fountain blue. That's the fountain blue in the lower right-hand corner. Look how much it's grown. Isn't that a great barometer as you're looking at the growth of Panama City Beach?
I remember when the first hurricane hit after they built the fountain blue, and they were worried. But it did pretty well. It was flossy in '61.
They lost a lot of sand and all in that area, but but a lot of construction. I know you've seen a lot of things change out in that area.
Yeah.
And but your dad, I never will forget this. Your dad had, and some other guys had the idea, and it didn't go through. It wasn't approved by the powers that be. Putting those buildings behind the road.
Yeah, what he wanted to do is he ran for county commissioner and didn't get elected, but I told him he really won. But he was trying to get them to use good common sense, and instead of building all the big stuff right on the beach, he said the first block inland, after you come, in other words, you come to the first road, on the north side of that road, you were allowed to live. He wanted it where you could be allowed to build 1 story, and then you go the next block and you could build 3 story, and the next block 5 story. In other words, 2 stories. The top 2 stories of everything would be able to have Gulf views, and that way your 15-story buildings that you're seeing would be 8 or 9 blocks back from the water, and then he wanted to take the corner lot on every 3rd block and turn it into a parking lot with easement where everybody could go and enjoy the beach. They didn't do it.
Well, instead, we did just the opposite. We put all the tall buildings on the Gulf, and
so you can't see
it. Down
you drive down Panama. Well, it's not just Panama City Beach. Dad had seen it in Miami. You drive down in Miami. You like driving in the Grand Canyon. You can't see nothing but buildings.
And you got so many places and all. I know there's an area down here in Mexico Beach. I'll find it later though, where the whole subdivision built across the road, and they all have access to all this natural sand dunes. It makes a lot of difference, and that's good.
Well, people come, they don't realize and that's the one that I like Governor Scott and most of the things he's done. But there was one thing I disagreed with him on, was when he allowed this. If I have a house on the beach, that beach is private. No, I disagree with that.
I do too.
That beach is there for everybody, and up to the high tide line, they should be allowed to use it. Because here's the thing: people come to the beach to enjoy it and to vacation. If they can't go to the beach and enjoy it, they quit coming. Well, folks, I'll give you another piece of common sense. If the tourists don't come down here, you're not going to get the tax dollars. Now, what are you going to pay for your roads with? Instead of that tax money you get from tourism, you're going to have to pay it out of your pocket, because I ain't never seen a politician give a refund.
No, that's true too. And but getting back to it, I always appreciate our state parks, and really even military reservations
Absolutely.
like Tyndall and Eglin and those places, because I mentioned over and over again on the show, those places have stayed natural.
Yep.
And it's really been a benefit.
Well, one of the things that makes Tyndall so good, besides being the F-22 base, is a lot of guys would like to come in there and go hog hunting and that kind of thing when it's in season in the military. And so it was kind of a recreational place for a lot of the Air Force, and that's good. They need those kind of places.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take our final break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Here with Captain Rick. We're looking at fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe, 1:14 to 3:14 this morning, and 1:39 to 3:39 tonight. Now we're going to go. I want to show you basically the area I was talking about. What was fascinating, this development here. There was a developer, and he left his land. This is down in St. Joe Beach area, not Mexico Beach, St. Joe Beach. He didn't want any. He didn't want any houses. He left it in there. No houses can be built on the beach side in front of this subdivision, so everybody can have a view. Well, somehow someone got a hold. He sold it, and then someone got an unscrupulous lawyer, and they twisted it around, folks. This is what happened. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here in the center of the screen. What they did, they said, well, we're gonna build it where these dead-end roads. All right, see each road has a house on the beach side in front of that road. So, okay, y'all see each house? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, each house. And so what the developer did, well, he said, well, this, legally, they went to court. Legally, this is not blocking the houses that's in that block. So that's how some people get really greedy.
That's the reason people like lawyers.
That's what people get really greedy. So at the end of every one of these roads, you'll notice it. It's just amazing me. But the guy that originally had the land had the right idea. You don't build in front of these other houses. But and that's always a testimonial to me about the greed of some developers and all. So anyway. And you saw Mexico Beach did a good job as far as keeping things down low,
when
too.
Chuck Guilford was the mayor down there, he and Dad were friends a long time ago. Chuck went down there and he took some of Dad's ideas, which is fine. He was smart to do it, but they made it from Toucan's Restaurant to the Gulf County, Bay County line. There was nothing to ever be built south of 98, and that is a beautiful beach. It's where a lot of locals go down there to enjoy the beach, because you don't have heavy crowds like you do out here. And the other thing is, there is no doubt that it's going to be there. You're going to get to enjoy it.
That's great vision, great foresight by people like that. And yet on the other end, you get some of these greedy people, and that's what happens. Okay. So try to be on the good side. Okay, let's get the boats really quick. I know a lot of boats weathered this storm. We didn't really have to take any boats out on this storm, but
I think they had one dinghy down there that with the Penta and
where it started taking on water.
Yeah, it took on water, and they had to jump down there and bail it out.
What was fascinating, I saw a little clip on TV, and they got in there with buckets and were dipping it out, but it succeeded. But what happened? People helped the boat was sort of like this in the water, okay, but then they got it sort of level, and because they'd have been still pulling. If they'd stayed sideways like that,
you'd been bailing the bay, and that ain't gonna happen.
You can't do that now. You can't do that normally unless people. So they got the boat right. When I first look at that, I said, "This is like a cartoon." But again, that's a good way to do it. And speaking of that, what's some good ways? Say you're out there in a dinghy or something, a small boat, and you pop a leak or something. Say you lose your plug or something. What are some things that you can plug it up temporarily and on emergency?
T-shirt.
A T-shirt. Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's something to slow the flow.
And the other thing is, Claude Tidwell was running the old Cerebeth, and when I was a kid, and of course I grew up working in the shipyard, so I had a little more advantage on some of them than the others, because we do things for temporary repair sometime to get things to work. And I never will forget the rudder fell out of the Cerebeth. Well, that leaves a hole about that big around, and of course all the pressure, the hatch just laid in the deck, and it blew the hatch off, and all of a sudden we looked right there, we got a geyser in the back of the boat.
Oh.
And of course Claude realized, I can't steer the boat, what we gonna do? And I grabbed a broom and shoved the handle down in the hole and plugged it. and it slowed it down, and I grabbed an old T-shirt we had, and then I pulled it out, wrapped it around it, stuck it back in there, and that was enough to really seal it. And we got that down, and I had one of the passengers hold it where it wouldn't get shot out again. And he said, "How are we going to steer home?" It was a single-engine boat. Well, I took a deck bucket, took the old fire axe, and knocked about 4 holes in the bottom of the deck bucket, tied a line on the baling, on the bail on it, throwed it off the stern and tied it off in the center on the post. And I stood back there, and if he says, "I need to go to the right," I'd move over and put the drag on that side, and he'd pull the boat around to the right, or I'd pull back the other way, and he'd go to the left. And we wasn't that good at steering, but it was enough that we could get back inside, get up in the lagoon. And then he called Captain Walter Anderson, and they come down there and took us in tow and took us back to the shipyard to get fixed.
Well, that was smart. How you
well,
adapt.
it saved the boat.
You just adapt to a situation in the best way you can.
One fella that had a nice boat that they accidentally hit the pipeline out here on one night. They didn't have the lights on the pipeline, and he hit it and knocked the bow out of the boat. And of course, I won't say the name because it's repaired down in good shape. But that captain used his head. He used a cushion and some other things, and just jammed him in the hole. And he realized he had hit high enough that he needed to bow up. So he just put her in the corner, got the bow up high enough that the water wouldn't get in there, and he left that stuff jabbed in there to keep the water out and come on to the house. Yeah, he used his head. Well, he come in there, and I think he ran it to the ground where the bow would stay up until they could get set up for the shipyard to haul him, and then he took it on to the shipyard and saved the boat.
I hear stories like that.
Well, the key to it is you don't panic. You start thinking. If you panic, your mind shuts down, and you don't have time to do it because you got to respond quick and they say aggressively, or you'll lose your boat.
Yeah, and the more experience you have, seems like that's better you can respond.
Yeah, I had a young man out of Mobile come up running out to the wheelhouse one day on the ship. He said, Captain, he says, "We got a fire on the number 2 generator. What'd I do?" I said, "Is the chief engineer know?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Go ahead and put the fire out and come back and tell me."
All right, Rick, we'll get out of here, buddy. Thank you. Just go put the fire out. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We appreciate the viewership. Y'all do something good for your fellow man today. Enjoy the great outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.